Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Innovate to Compete, Building a Next Level Small Business Strategy. I know we have quite a few folks who are planning to attend, so we're going to give everyone just a couple of minutes here to get logged in and settled, and then we will kick off our session. If you're just now dialing in, we are giving folks just a minute or so here as they get logged in and set up. So hang tight and we'll get started here in a moment. All right. So again, welcome. Good afternoon. And we are super excited to kick off Innovate to Compete, Building a Next Level Small Business Strategy. I'm Mary York, founder of York Public Relations, a PR agency for financial institutions and fintechs. I'm super excited to host today's very important and very relevant discussion on driving digital engagement and growth for small business. Small businesses, as everyone knows, they truly are the backbone of local economies, and providing business customers personalized support and branch-like digital experiences has never been more important for banks. I'm excited to be joined today by two industry experts who bring decades of experience and insight to this conversation. First, let me introduce Matt Phipps, Chief Marketing Officer at Agent IQ. Matt has over 25 years of experience in branding, digital strategy, and growth in marketing across fintech, financial services, and technology. Throughout his career, he has led initiatives at both startups and global enterprises, building go-to-market strategies that drive engagement, differentiation, and revenue growth. Matt, as I mentioned, is the Chief Marketing Officer at Agent IQ, an AI-powered relationship banking platform, helping financial institutions grow by deepening customer relationships beyond the branch. Matt's passion lies in helping banks and credit unions blend digital convenience with human connection to create more personal, high-impact account holder experiences. Welcome, Matt.
Thanks so much, Mary. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. And also joining us today is Paul Provenzano, who leads the U.S. business for eBankit, an innovative digital banking services provider. Paul brings over 25 years of experience in the fintech industry, having worked with organizations ranging from startups to Fortune 250 companies. He has an impressive track record of driving growth and innovation in digital banking, digital payments, and other financial services technologies. Paul's passion centers on working with financial institutions to design and implement digital transformation technologies and strategies that create tangible business impact and drive meaningful customer engagement. Paul, did I get everything there? Welcome
you
to
nailed it, Mary.
welcome.
Thank you.
I feel like
Good
that's always a mouthful to get out there, but welcome to have you both. I know you guys have a lot of experience and very, very excited to dive right in. So with that, let's get started. One thing, earlier this year, our agency at York Public Relations, we did a survey, and it's included in the State of FinTech report, but we surveyed over 800 bank executives and to find out what they're looking for from a fintech spend, lost my word there, from a fintech standpoint on what they're looking to spend money on. And one thing that we found was that the vast majority, which isn't too surprising, but about 78% of them said that they plan to increase fintech spending over the next 2 years. So with that, I want to kind of kick off with, what do you see as the main drivers behind continued advancement, particularly on digital transformation?
Yeah, well, I think this is a great way to kick it off. I mean, digital transformation has been a buzzword for a long time, but I think there is more and more digital challengers coming into the landscape. and that's becoming more and more competitive, and our customer expectations are continuing to rise. I mean, we need to meet them where that expectation is because they're seeing it in their personal experiences. And when they actually come and work with their institution, they are expecting that same level of technology. I also feel that a big driver in this, call for innovation is that there's institutions are seeing that these are opportunities for growth. They find that this is opportunities to differentiate themselves. They can't compete necessarily with the big mega banks on innovation budgets, but they can do it in unique ways. And a lot of that is with a unique customer experience, I think that matches their operating model. Paul, what were you thinking?
Yeah, no, I think that just picking up where you left off, Matt, I think that, the digital experience has evolved much beyond just the transaction. And I think, historically, online mobile, if you will, was really just an extension of IVR. And, strategically minded, innovative oriented financial institutions are positioning the digital channel as a differentiator. And the conversations that we're having kind of center around three themes, if you will, and Mary, to your point about, the main drivers, it's, how do we improve efficiency, not only back office, but how do we also improve efficiency for our customers? How do we create revenue? And Matt, you alluded to that. How do we drive new business, whether it's brand new customer off the street or additional products and services? And then the third, and it's really starting to rise to the top, and Matt, again, you alluded to this one, but from a competitive standpoint, how do you deliver a differentiated digital experience? And I think that, the technologies are available that enable a financial institution to select the best-in-class providers, partners, to really deliver a very differentiated approach than the financial institution down the street, down the block. And I think the opportunity for competing with the mega financial institutions is now greater than ever for the community-based financial institutions.
Absolutely. And one thing, too, that we saw in our report, kind of going back to the tech investment itself, digital banking, as we know, is one of the major areas for investments right now. According to our study, 55% of respondents are planning to really focus on that area. And I think a lot of what we're seeing is it's not just about digital and digitizing the experience. It's about really meeting customers with their expectations and what they're looking for in terms of how they interact with their bank. So can you talk a little bit about the balance there? How are banks seeing the balance for the need for technological advancement with maintaining the personal touch that has traditionally been a cornerstone of banking relationships, particularly with community banks?
Yeah, I think, like you said, Mary, I mean, that has been a cornerstone for community institutions for, over a century now. And what I think the real relationship-centric institutions are executing on is they're finding and they're using technology as an enabler for their staff, for their people, rather than that replacement. There's an element that technology can really create some efficiencies and can get rid of some of those mundane tasks or anything. But when tech is used to actually help and augment the human, and that's whether it's from the customer standpoint or the internal, there ends up being a lot more opportunity. Again, that's what we're seeing in our own personal experiences and consumer interactions. But what's also really key is one size doesn't fit all. And so what works for one institution may not work for the same institution. So really, at the end of the day, kind of one of the key themes that we like to think about is, look, technology should not drive strategy. It needs to be the other way around. Your strategy needs to align with your institution, what is congruent with your brand and how you want to interact with your customers, and then look how can technology actually enhance that and enable more efficient personal service, better human touch points, but using digital efficiency when that's appropriate. Would you agree, Paul?
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that, connecting, the way I would describe it is how efficient is a financial institution in connecting the offline and the online world, because so frequently they've been thought of kind of in a silo. Well, our branch, this is what it looks like, and this is how we'll help and support our customers. This is our online experience. This is our call center. And I think the strategically forward-thinking financial institutions, and I like the way you put that, Matt, that strategy should drive the technology decisions. And so how effective a financial institution is at bridging and connecting the offline and the online worlds. And we've got some really great consumer experiences that, while the financial service industry is more regulated and perhaps a little more complex here and there, you look at, Starbucks and Amazon, Uber, I mean, these online, offline experiences that are very, very seamless. And there is an opportunity for financial institutions to create that same very seamless, very simple and very elegant user experience, incorporating electronic efficiency, automation where and when necessary, along with the physical, either in-person or tangible support network. So I think there's we're at a really exciting crossroad to pursue that.
Very good. Yeah, and that actually speaks directly to one of the points that we uncovered in our report, with kind of going back to the strategy, right? It's not just technology for sake of technology. There has to be a rhyme and reason for it. And part of what our survey found was that the majority, about 40% of bank executives, cited improving the customer experience as a key driver for why they're making digital investments. Now, one word that comes up is AI. That constantly comes up in discussions with bankers and with the whole world at this point. So, can you talk a little bit about how AI and data analytics is being used or could be used to strengthen the relationship rather than depersonalizing that experience for customers?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I mean, I think with AI, the real great way to start is first identifying what problem are you trying to solve. AI has obviously been the big buzz that we've been hearing about for years now. Banks have been using it for years and years and years in very maybe more subtle ways from a consumer experience. But AI is extremely powerful and it's very good at analyzing data. What it may not be great at least at this point, there's certainly evolution, but is around empathy and kind of that human connection. But AI can be extremely powerful to actually analyze all of this data. As an institution, you are sitting on troves of data about your customers. It's incredible. And you may have had data scientists that you've had for years and years and years and paying a lot of money for. There is opportunities to make them so much more efficient by using AI to analyze that data and then use your relationship model to actually then optimize what is best for your customer. So, whether that's recommending a good financial product or understanding what situation that you could offer them to improve their financial situation, that's where all of AI can be extremely, extremely important and relevant when it comes to that data analytics.
Yeah, I mean, I would just, add to that, Matt. I think the core to all of the AI discussion is what problem you're solving. I think you just, you nailed that right at the beginning, is we have to understand either what problem are we solving or what value are we delivering. And I think AI really opens the door, going back to my original comment, transitioning from a transaction-oriented, if we think about digital for a minute, migrating or evolving from a transaction orientation to using all this data that a financial institution has on there, especially if you think of it from a small business standpoint. How do you start to leverage that data in a way that now begins to offer cash flow analysis based on a certain period, or comparisons of invoicing versus cash flow, inflows versus outflows? So this is where I think, specifically as it relates to small business and specifically as it relates to data analytics, that the marrying of the two opens the door to bring a lot of value, which in turn will create a lot of loyalty and then just deepen the relationship between the financial institution and their small business account holder. So, that's where we're really spending a lot of time and focused on how do we, the problem we're solving in that instance is how do we bring more value to that small business owner that takes the data that we already have and provides some actionable insights.
Yeah. And, Paul, I mean, AI and technology can continue to make us so efficient. And there's a lot of excitement around that because we all want to be more efficient. That brings more to the bottom line. But again, I think figuring out how to make a great hybrid of that in your execution is the key element. I'm going to use an example that our team has been using recently, and this is obviously from a consumer experience, that the difference between a McDonald's we're all familiar with and a Chick-fil-A. All right, so if maybe you haven't gone into either in a long time, I don't say I'm a regular visitor to either of them. However, I have visited. I have young kids, so we need to do the obligatory visits. When you go into a McDonald's, right, they are using technology. There is a kiosk, there is a mobile ordering, and the people that are working in there are hiding. They are essentially delivering. Right? If you actually wanted to ask a question, my kid doesn't like sauce or pickles on this. Like, how do I do that? Or I'm not a little confused. They are, when you go and try to ask a question, they're like, what do you mean? Why are you talking to me? And this becomes a very, uncomfortable experience. They're using technology to try to make things more efficient, but it's actually impacting that customer experience. Now, look, on the other hand, you have a Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is investing in technology to actually make the internal operations, the ordering, the processing, the inventory, all of that way more efficient. But there is always a human talking to you. They run the line. Remember, a Chick-fil-A line is ridiculous. And you run the line, there'll be a human out there, and that technology is helping them internally. And so that balance is really, really key. And you can see the difference in that consumer experience. And when it comes down to, business banking, even retail banking, people are going to stick with the experience that is going to be, really suiting them. And I think that there's a great opportunity there.
Well, and I just to play off of that, Matt, I think that reinforces the organization's brand identity. Then with that is what does that all that experience and interaction, how does that work and or define what the organization's brand strategy is and support? So spot on.
Yeah. So diving a little bit deeper into that, one of the points that we found in a different survey that we did last year was that local small to mid-size businesses are a major focus for banks. That's a big area that they're looking to drive a little bit more traction in. One thing that it becomes a little bit of a challenge are for the banks that are trying to appeal to both, right? It's two completely different customer segments. You've got retail customers, you've got business customers. How you interact with both is different. It's unique. They each have different sets of needs. They each have different types of questions or things that they're going to be addressing with the bank staff. How can AI support that relationship, especially when it's perhaps a customer that's a customer twice? They're a retail customer and they have their business relationship with that bank. How can banks leverage AI and technology in a way that supports that customer on both sides of the relationship?
Yeah, that's really great question. It triggered me. I should have said at the top, I don't think we realized when we set the timing for this webinar that it is Small Business Month.
It is, yeah.
The SBA May, so welcome to Small Business Month and a Small Business webinar. That's a great question around kind of going from retail to business, and we're actually going to showcase a little bit of that a little bit later here. But I think the key goes back to almost a point I made earlier in terms of one size doesn't fit all, and your technology, be it AI or whatever, needs to be adaptable to what your customer segments are like. And so you want to be able to treat that retail customer in a certain way and support them. Just again, it should be able to mirror what that in-branch experience might have been, right? And so for that, bronze level customer or that student that comes into the branch. Maybe they get a more of a dose of an AI self-service. But that small business customer, I mean, they're truly just retail customers on steroids, right? They love efficiencies, but they need to feel supported. They usually have a few more complex questions, and that's often where they need the empathy, the advice, the support of a real human. Paul, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this question strikes right to the heart of, we recently, came across a Dato's Insight market survey or market study as well. And it was interesting because one of the items that they summarized, this is maybe 12 months ago, but very still relevant today, of the top 12 to 15 criteria as part of their survey that small business owners cited as the primary or top criteria for their banking relationship. Of the top three, two were technology related. So things ranging from accounting services, invoicing, HR, payroll, I mean, you name it, all of these kind of ancillary technology services that small businesses rely on. And number one was relationship to and service and support model to their bank. So what's interesting is you have the top three of 12 or 15 attributes are focused on relationship and technology. And so, it begs the question, and we've been having a lot more conversations around this recently, does a financial institution's small business offering align with what small businesses are really looking for? And so if you look at traditionally in the market, it's account-based or balance-based accounts, transaction orientation, where what small businesses are really saying is, listen, I need an account that is going to give me easy access to my accounting systems where I can do invoicing, quick access to some cash flow and dashboards, so more visibility. So leveraging technology, I think that's an opportunity for innovation that financial institutions have a great opportunity to leverage, is how they repackage and reposition, because it's not a one size fits all. There's all types of different organizations, from, I think, as we positioned in this webinar, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, up to enterprise grade organizations. So I think that's kind of the first place for innovation. And then as you start to define different products and services, how does AI, kind of going back to the problem or solution, how does AI fit into those different products and services? Because ultimately, I think the greatest opportunity that we see for financial institutions is to become that digital front door for all things small business related. And if that can be accomplished, then that's where the loyalty really starts to come into play. I don't know, Matt, thoughts on that?
Well, exactly right. I mean, look, when you talk about any small business, their number one priority is growth, right? How do I keep growing? And the best way to keep growing is not having to keep replacing your attrition, right? So how can you make that experience? How can you use AI to be efficient, not only for yourself, but for your customer, for that small business customer? Look, we are all consumers to a degree and in various different aspects in our lives. We appreciate digital convenience, AI convenience. If it's something simple, I don't want to have to wait on hold. I don't want to have to come into a branch. I don't want to have to talk to a human. Give me something that's just going to take care of it. And that's where AI, when it's mundane, when it's simple, when it's repetitive, when it's easily searchable, that's where we want AI. All of us want it. The consumer wants it, the bank wants it, everybody benefits from that. But when it's complex, when I'm stuck, don't hide the human. Make it an easy path to be able to get to that human. Again, particularly in that small business front, they have complex questions. I need help. And if I'm not going to get it from you, I will find it somewhere, or I'm going to get very frustrated and that'll spiral.
Yeah, I mean, people aren't afraid of self-service at all. And especially as you go, a younger demographic, recent college grads, or those that, are starting their small business out the door. People aren't afraid of self-service, but it's, at the moment that I need help, I need support, I have a question, I've had to repeat it now once or twice, and I'm still in the same spot. How do I get to, that happy path as efficiently and seamlessly as possible? And I think that's where loyalty really starts to come into play.
Bingo. Yeah.
Yeah, I had this makes me think I had a conversation with a banker a couple weeks ago. And one thing they mentioned is that their top question that they get is what is my bank account number? Where do I find that on my check? And so that's an example of one of those just mundane things. But it also makes me think too about the staff at the bank, and that's something that I think AI helps support as well. Especially as banks are trying to retain staff. So AI is helpful for the customer, but I think also too from just a simple operation standpoint with staff, it helps them do their jobs better. And I would imagine it also allows them to not have to deal with some of those little things that AI or the technology can just quickly address, and then they can focus on those more complex questions, particularly for small businesses. Is that something that you think AI is helping to support with?
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. Look, again, all of us want to do well in our jobs, I would imagine, right? We all have this inherent need to feel like we are accomplishing something and doing something. And for internal staff, when they are frustrated having to deal with something, or it's clunky, or they have to go to so many different platforms or search this up, and then that document is outdated or something, that is so frustrating. If a customer is asking a question and it takes that customer 5 times to kind of come at them to get an answer, the staff feels frustrated and like, why couldn't I have just helped them? And so I think when you can use AI to create those internal efficiencies for the staff, to augment that staff person, to make them more efficient, then you're now actually increasing internal satisfaction at the same time as you're getting customer satisfaction and giving them a better experience. So it's a big,
Right.
we've seen a lot of our clients, saying that they were struggling to hire people. But then when you can create that satisfaction, you in the same respect as with customers, you're encouraging a lot more loyalty there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So one other thing too, and this is kind of the big area that banks are focused on. You mentioned, the business customers are looking at growth, but banks are too, right? Ultimately, the goal is to grow those relationships, grow deposits, acquire new account holders. That was one thing that came through repeatedly in our state of fintech in the survey that we did. How, from your perspective, is combining that superior digital banking experience with the personal engagement? How can that help the banks really grow their business? Is it just growing that relationship with the customer, or is it finding ways to expand and acquire more customers, or both?
Yes. I mean, look,
Yeah.
right. Again, I think I said it earlier. The best way to grow is to not have to replace attrition, not to have to keep going through that. And so, if you can create a great loyal base, I mean, some of our clients have had banner years last year. They had their best year in 50, 70 years, and the reason is they didn't have to offer promotional rates. They had low cost of deposits. And why do they have that? Because they truly lived up to their relationship centric operating model. They kept their relationships tight and secure, and those people didn't leave. They weren't chasing rates because there's much more value in the holistic experience of the relationship and the service and support that they're getting from their institution than rate chasing. And then obviously, again, we said kind of at the top of the call here is that the AI can really create some efficiencies around that data analytics to provide more options that truly might be personal for that and relevant for that customer. And those are things that maybe that weren't surfaced before. And those are good opportunities, and you're seeing opportunities there open up, very clear, very efficient for the staff to see, be able to communicate that very easily and seamlessly with the customer, and then open up those new opportunities to increase share of wallet.
Yeah, I mean, I call this the e-commerce factor because, again, we kind of go back to, as a consumer, we've been molded to the, Amazon one click, right? So speed, efficiency, simplicity from an online standpoint is the consumer's expectation. And so, a lot of conversations we're having is how do we translate that? Again, while financial services are a little more complex, they can be regulatory, I get that, but there are opportunities within a financial institution to create a marketplace of products and services, if you will, within digital banking. So, real life example, if I'm shopping for an auto loan, I may be able to get get the current rates, but if I click on that, it may launch me out back to the public website. And so it's almost like we're sending people out of a digital branch into, some other sphere to then create or finish the shopping process. So I think we have to look at that entire kind of that e-commerce shopping experience, because the more seamless and frictionless, especially as an existing customer, that we can make that just will create and just reinforce that repeatable business when it comes to the next product and services. And so great opportunities we feel for financial institutions to really get good at not only selling, but the onboarding of new products and services to existing customers.
Yeah, and again, when that's congruent with your bank's brand, like there is now this is coming out of a marketing guy's mouth, but I mean that there is a lot of power there, and there is a lot of differentiation there that really helps you set yourself apart when the ability to differentiate on products and services or products is getting lower and lower and lower. So that service and how that works and is congruent with your institution, I think is really, really valuable.
Well, and this, these examples matter kind of across the board already, evident in the financial service world. You got SoFi, who's been kind of described as the Amazon of financial services, and, Rocket Mortgage. I mean, all of these examples of digital only financial services that, have kind of perfected and found a user experience from cradle to, the relationship to really get it not only started, but then get it established and continue to cultivate it. So I think there's an opportunity for community financial institutions definitely to build off of that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Very good. Well, I'm going to change gears here just for a little bit. I know we want to spend some time with a quick demo. So we're going to do that here. But if you have questions, this is for attendees, if you have additional questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. We'll try to leave a little bit of time at the end to answer any additional questions. If we don't get to it, we can certainly follow up later. And then, of course, we will have the recording available after the session, and then also a link to the State of FinTech report. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to the team here, and let's start walking through the demo.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Mary. And I think appreciate this conversation. I think what we wanted to do is kind of now we've talked in theory and kind of what good thoughts are and ideas. And again, I've said kind of, strategy needs to lead that technology, right? So we've talked a little bit about strategy approaches. Now let's take a look at a little bit of technology. So I'm going to introduce a couple of folks to help us with the demo. Soren Bested is COO of Agent IQ. He's going to join and help today from kind of showing a little bit about our platform integrates with eBankit. And so on the eBankit side, we have Jose Luis Suiza. He's going to be joining and helping out from the eBankit standpoint. So thank you both for joining. We appreciate it. You are the machine that helps us as our narration. We've found in past that trying to do both at the same time is a bit of a tongue twister. So appreciate you being here. So to kick it off, Soren, I think you are going to share your screen, and we can, there you go. Perfect. So we're going to set a little example here, and we have on the left-hand side, we have the Agent IQ dashboard. This is an internally facing staff dashboard. On the right-hand side, we have Jose, who's our customer. This is the eBankit interface coming in. And in this case, we're going to role play that Jose is just kind of your standard kind of business owner. He also obviously has individual personal accounts, but he's, in this case, he's going to come in He logged into his dashboard. He's going to need a little bit of help though, because he's interested in finding out how he can deposit a check. And obviously something like that, as we explained a little bit earlier, is very easy for AI to handle. And so being able to just click on a menu item or even type that in gives a very easy workflow and instructions on how to do that. QR code, be able to scan that in. This is how you can do that. And so AI is there, as we said, to take care of some of those simple, easy, transactional things that AI is great at. This is efficient for Jose. He doesn't need to talk to a human. And it's efficient for the bank. Nobody's calling in the call center, sitting on hold, taking up time where more valuable conversations could be had. But now Jose has a little bit more of a complex question. I think in this case, he got a new phone, and he's wondering to know, he has his old phone connected to this bank account. He wanted to figure out, hey, what should I do to ensure that that is deactivated? And so he's connected to, in this case, Lana, and you can see Jose is flagged as a new incoming chat on the left-hand side. Lana is able to very quickly see what has happened, and that Jose went through a little bit of self-service and now has a little bit more of a complex question, and she's able to engage very seamlessly here. And so now, let's see, what are we doing? And now, when that need gets a little bit more complex, sometimes it's easier to, hey, let me show you, or let me help you with that. And that bandwidth can be a little bit different. But this case, Lana is able to set a workflow and run an AI assistant. So this is where AI can help make that agent be more efficient, and deliver to Jose the simple steps to be able to deactivate that advice. So we see those steps. Jose is going to go through and indicate, where was it? Jose, I think down in security, and go through and manage those devices. There he goes. He has a good memory. Since that chat remains persistent across different pages, it's easy to be able to do that and deactivate that device just like that. Perfect. Well done. And then there, so the AI was able to help. Jose is pleased with that, says is able to quickly just say thank you, and Lana and Jose are kind of set in terms of that support need. So what we've really shown here is, again, AI that can help a customer, self-service, AI that can support your internal staff, and again, making it efficient for both. So with that, we now wanted to switch over and show, we're going to switch screens here. Jose, I think we're going to pop your screen up. And I'm going to hand it over to Paul. And Paul, you're going to kind of talk through kind of this next part of the demo in terms of what we're seeing here.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Matt. Appreciate that, Soren, as well. And so, picking up where Matt left off, so Jose has been logged in on his personal account. A little bit about Jose. So he is a business owner. He has not only his personal account, but he also has his business account. It's actually a holding company account with a couple of businesses below it. And so he has an administrator, an accounting administrator, that really takes on a lot of the business responsibility for him. That person's on vacation this week, and so he's going to have to pick up the slack on a few things. So Jose is going to just quickly change his profile from his consumer account. Iron Gate Holdings is his corporate account, and so he's going to switch profiles. He didn't have to log out and log back in. He didn't have to go to a separate website. His business profile and all the attributes of this corporate account will fall right into view. So those will fall into the business account. So here's his Iron Gate Holdings account. A couple of things Jose really quickly just needs to verify. He wanted to see, first of all, are there any pending operations that he needs to take ownership of? So he'll scroll and navigate to the pending operations area and see what might be there. So he does see that while his administrator's out, there is a transaction that requires his attention. And so he can very quickly and simply just authorize that particular transaction based on the rules and things that have already been pre-established, including that they've established the OTPs required for any kind of a transaction over a certain dollar amount. So very quickly, while Jose was logged in, transitioning to his commercial business account, he was able to take care of that. The other key thing is his accounting admin typically takes care of payroll. And so just to make sure that nothing gets overlooked, Jose wanted to validate that a payroll transaction had been submitted. So he quickly goes into search and does some filtering to find that payroll transaction that he hopes is there, and so as he searches and filters, yep, in fact, that payroll was processed yesterday. So all is good on that front. But now it's getting a little bit more complex. He did hire an accounting administrator, and so he needs to get that person set up in the system, and he needs to get that person set up quickly before his corporate administrator gets back. And so this is where Jose is going to prompt for some help to get somebody online. And what you're going to notice is that the person now has changed. And so Lana was the support person that was helping Jose from a personal account, but Soren is his personal banker. And so based on how his relationship has changed through the electronic experience, his contact person now for the business account has also changed. And so we'll also see here that there's been history that's been exchanged between Soren and Jose. So there's an existing relationship that's already been established. So through this interaction, Soren is, will now engage with Jose. They start with their chat experience. And the experience based on the requirements can quickly evolve into additional dynamics and capabilities. For instance, could launch right into a video chat. And so this might be a situation where they feel it's necessary, and Jose would welcome the opportunity to work directly with Soren and help navigate through that situation. Thanks, guys. Or could be a situation where Soren is going to help Jose by through a screen share and help navigating the screens as those become necessary. So, the first step that Soren will help Jose navigate is setting up the next administrator. So they'll through screen share prompting, I believe the screen share is on. Soren will now, through highlighting and circulating various attributes of the service of the platform, he's going to point and direct Jose through the different screen prompts of how to add a new user and a new administrator. And so very quickly, he's just prompting through, adding a delegate as an example. And then through a couple of predefined fields and workflows, Jose will very quickly add, I believe, John Smith to the workflow, and we'll have a new administrator set up in just a minute. And so this is an example where combination of the self-service, but also augmented by in-person or live support based on previous relationships, and can be facilitated and managed a couple of different ways, through chat, through the screen share, and then certainly, as we kind of highlighted, through the video and microphone capabilities. And so we get to a point where now John has been set up as a individual that's now will be in the system. And the next step of that process would naturally be to then assign what this user's access rights or access group might be. And so this is where, again, Jose, maybe there's a loud background noise happening, so the video or the audio would be hard to communicate, so they rely on chat. And again, Soren can navigate Jose through the prompts of where and how to set up or assign John to that appropriate user. So he's going to go through, and as he finds John, he will assign on to that appropriate user group, which in this case is an accounting group. So very quickly, so Jose was able to get the support he needed on a system he's not very familiar with because he relies on somebody to do that. And now, at this point, Jose feels pretty comfortable that he can navigate from here. And so, but he does want to make sure, it's very important to him, that the accounting group for the Valtech only has access to those particular products and services or those accounts related to Valtech. So Jose quickly is going to go into the accounting group and verify and validate that, in fact, the limits and permissions that the Valtech group has today, or that the accounting group has today, is across all of his business units. And so he quickly changes that to ensure that it's only specific Valtech checking accounts in this case. So very self-sufficient and easy for Jose to make sure that those admin approvers are in place. So that's really the extent of the help and the support that Jose has needed from Soren. He goes back to his main screen of the online banking page, the main dashboard. And he does recall that earlier in the day, when he was scrolling, he did identify or see that there's a small business promotion that the bank is having that appears in his business profile, business account. And so Jose's actually curious about that. They are looking at possibly a capital investment. So he's reaching back out to Soren and say, hey, Soren, thanks for your help, but actually, I do have a question on the small business loan, the small business program that the bank has. And Soren, in his jolly nature, is happy to share any information that he can. But more than that, Soren's able to bring in a subject matter expert that is connected to the small business lending and more of a specialist in that area. And so very quickly, Brooke joins the conversation and can pick the conversation up live and in stream and provide any kind of support, answer any questions, but become engaged and also become part of the conversation in real time. So it's not a matter of having to pick up the phone, put somebody on hold, refer somebody. Immediately, Brooke is alerted to the situation, has some additional information that she's able to share with Jose, and now it becomes up to Jose on any next steps that he may want to pursue related to the lending program. And so if we go back to the screen, we'll see kind of a concluding exchange between Jose, Brooke, and Soren. And so just a couple of concluding comments. And, at this point, they can establish whatever that next course of action might look like. Could be continued dialogue through the chat, sending more documents, or however Jose would like to proceed. So, really, we wanted to highlight for you through the demonstration the convenience of a personal and a business relationship connected the convenience of leveraging AI when and where appropriate, but also the fact that technology enables the ability to continue to reinforce the relationship across the entity of the bank. This example could extend to mortgage, wealth management, or any other business that may align with the financial institution. So, Matt, I'm going to send it back to you for any additional closing comments or thoughts on that.
No, I think you nailed it. I mean, again, we hope again at the top of this call we talked through a lot of strategy approaches. Wanted to give a little bit of an example of kind of how that actually works, right? And as you said, Paul, really those relationships are so key. I mean, they can be such an opportunity to be a differentiator, and how you engage and connect with those and facilitate those relationships will be key. How do you use technology to support your strategy? And we've just showed you there, and again, how that personal experience can use AI self-service or human support, again, tailored to your model. Easily switch over to a business account without having to switch, again, making that very seamless for the consumer experience. And again, tailored to the type of customer that they are. So in this case, it was a business customer connected right to, Soren as the banker. And then finally, there's a team support there. So if any small business likely needs more than just one person, and so having that team support is key. Ultimately anchoring that strong integrated technology. So again, strategy drives technology, but when you get very solid integrated technology, such as what we just showed you here in the partnership that we have, you really can transform that digital banking experience into a relationship banking one across all of your business lines. And I think that's a really exciting opportunity. And hopefully everybody here, got to see that as well. So
awesome.
I know we're kind of coming to the close here, Mary. Maybe welcome you back to see if there's any questions that came through or any little closing thing before we let everybody go.
Yeah, I have to say that was really a great walkthrough. And as a business owner myself, I can tell the banks on this call, if I had that access, it would make my life so much easier, and I could just toggle back and forth and have everything I need right there. I'll say too, a lot of the ways that businesses are looking for information is they're Googling it, which is not ideal. So if you have that relationship and you're able to really be kind of that business banker and really position yourself as that, it's hugely impactful. So loved the session. I would wrap up with this, and this is for both of you. What advice would you give to financial institutions and the ones that are on this call particularly that are evaluating fintech partnerships with the dual goal of improving digital capabilities while also enhancing that personal relationship with both the retail customers and the business customer?
Paul, please go first. I've been yapping first.
Well, I think, there could be a really long-winded answer to this or a Reader's Digest. And so I'll try and give the Reader's Digest versions for sure. But I think, we've migrated into an age and a period where integration and system connectivity is absolutely crucial. And so, my advisement to financial institutions is, prioritize solutions that, and I think Matt's been hitting the theme really well, technologies that really will support the strategy. And this is again, I think a unique period where there are so many technologies out there that there is a great opportunity for financial institutions to create a very differentiated approach in the market. So I think just at the high level, it starts with prioritizing those technologies that really reinforce the brand proposition. And then, a little bit more technical or application oriented, APIs is, foundation. And so understanding an organization or a fintech's infrastructure that way, technologies that can integrate seamlessly, like you saw today, should certainly be high on the list. And then I think, not to underscore, and this is one of the things we've, appreciated about Agent IQ, is there's a cultural connection. There's I would say a cultural synergies between our organizations. And I know we look for clients that share that same cultural, customer-centric approach in delivering technology. And I think that's important, is for the financial institutions to really narrow in on ensuring that their technology partners share that client-centric, personalized, financial, proactive support model.
Yeah, well said, Paul. I couldn't agree with you more. Prioritize the technology that supports that strategy, and particularly when it's around relationship building, right? That's going to really be setting you apart. Make sure that that technology, augments rather than undermines or replaces necessarily your human touch, because that is still very, very essential, particularly when it comes to small business. And finally, one size doesn't fit all. Make sure your solutions are able to be flexible and modular for how your business works and has worked successfully, for all the whole time that you've been in business. Technology can do that. It can be flexible. So just make sure that that's something that you look into, that it isn't a one size fits all solution, and that it can really augment what you are doing and how you want to run your business.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Very good. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we will have the recording available and a link to the report. And of course, if you have questions that come up or you want to talk to the team, certainly reach out. But thank you for everyone's time.
Excellent. Oh, hey, Mary, I think I just saw a question come in real quick here at the very end. Let's see. Does AI, can it be integrated with any IB or MB? I am not sure. What does this mean? Are you guys seeing this?
Can this AI be, so I think your AI, I think that your Agent IQ be integrated with any internet banking.
Yeah. Sorry, my apologies. Yes, that's the idea. It's that you want to be able to, we can integrate. We integrate with digital bankings. Obviously, eBankit is the one here. We do that with other digital banking providers as well. Again, I think the beauty there is that we really provide that communication ability. Your digital banking should complement that, and that's why we love working with Paul and eBankit. But technologies do need to work together, and I think that's the beauty. There are some technologies out there that have kind of closed doors and make it a little bit more difficult to work with. I know that both eBankit's and Agent IQ's philosophy is that the more we can be open and work well and work nicely with others, the better for everybody. So hopefully that answers your question.
It looks like we've got another question here. Does this only integrate with the new eBankit?
Well, this is a question relative to eBankit's platform. So there's an eBankit platform classic. And so given the open API infrastructure, I would say that it certainly can integrate, whatever that version would be. Yep.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thanks for the questions. Thank you, Mary, for hosting. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate this.
Matt, yep. Mary, appreciate it. Thank you for hosting. Matt, it's always good to talk with you. And thank you, Soren and Jose, for being our banker and support today.
That's right. Happy Small Business Month.
That's right.
Yes.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.